Hey guys, CJ here, and I just got back from seeing the Fantastic 4, Fantastic with a 4 instead of an A, and I've got some thoughts here. I mean, I don't really know how to express to you the disappointment, but we'll get into that in a little bit. There's plenty of time for sadness in this review, so let's, as hard as it is to find a place to start, I'm going to start with a little plot summary. And first and foremost, of course, this movie follows our four heroes: Reed Richards, who's a budding, brilliant young scientist; Sue Storm, who is a patterns recognition analyst; Johnny Storm, her brother, who is, of course, the young hotshot; Ben Grimm, who's apparently a normal human person that's just there because he's friends with Reed; and, of course, their nemesis, Victor Von Doom, who used to be a friend and colleague but got stuck in the same alternate dimension that gave them their powers for a year. Honestly, as much stuff as there is to explore, a lot of that wasn't explored. So, of course, to help me out with the rest of my review, let me introduce my special guest. Drumroll, please. You may know him as the Hybrid, a.k.a. Josh. Yeah, the boss decided to come down and visit the set. He's doing a little set video. You can hear him. I'm going to bump up the audio so you're fun.
True.
Okay, we're going to leave that in there. Yes, he's been away for a long time. Of course, we've got some stuff coming in the next few days for you guys, so it'll be pretty exciting. But back to this review. Josh, what are your thoughts on this straight from the top?
Straight from the top, honestly, very heavily Ultimate Fantastic Four inspired. Like, literally, the first half of the movie is pretty much Ultimate Fantastic Four. 95%, I'd say, which is not a bad thing per se, but at the same time, we'll get more into the details later. But at least, if you have no idea about the Ultimate Fantastic Four, I recommend maybe go to Wikipedia, read a general idea of it. It might help you with this movie. But yeah, I mean, I want to see a sequel of this movie, not because this movie was good, but because I feel like the cast could deliver a good movie with a better writer and a better director. And I feel like if they were to have those things for a sequel, we could actually get a movie where we're going this was really good, yada 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 yada.
I definitely agree. I think just off the top, I'll say this, and this will give you a pretty good idea of how I felt. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan, like Josh is. I'm a big Doctor Doom fan.
I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan.
Ultimate Fantastic Four fan too, which is why. Okay, so I'm going to say. I've never gone into a movie with lower expectations, and
you should have seen his face in the theater.
And I've never been so disappointed. I was literally cringing my way through the movie. It was really bad, guys, and I hate to say that because there were no two people. Even when the CBC was really, really negative about this movie, and there were other people that were really kind of on the fence about it.
So hard.
He defended it so hard. He got me into it, and then around the time of the third trailer, I kind of started to get weird vibes from it. I started to think back, and there were extensive reshoots. Then I looked at all the changes they'd made in the trailer. I looked at how they were advertising the movie, and I was like, this is a bad sign. And from there, I knew Trank he's not going to be back for a sequel, especially after he tweeted out tonight that it was basically Fox's fault.
And then he deleted it.
He's deleted it now,
fishy stuff.
Unless it's fake or whatever, but I don't know about that. But no, Trank is probably not going to be back. That's just the vibe I get. But it's really sad, so I went in with really low expectations. I didn't want to hate this movie at all, but I really did. It's to me, it's in now the lower tier of superhero movies, previously occupied only by the second Fantastic Four movie, Rise of the Silver Surfer, as well as Batman and Robin and Green Lantern. And maybe we'll end the review with our rankings of those, but really bad.
Before you get into your pros and cons, can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you heard how he feels on it overall. For me, is slightly, and by slightly I mean ever so slightly, just because I have a soft I have a soft spot for Ultimate FF because it gave us Ultimate Reed Richards, which I love. So because of that, I do have this movie, and just because of the cast and stuff, it's slightly above Rise of the Silver Surfer to me, because to me Green Lantern and Fantastic Four 2 are the same level. But to me, when I was watching this movie, one thing that kept coming in my mind, and I don't think CJ 100% agrees with me on this, which is totally okay, because remember, it's an opinion. But so what Man of Steel is to Superman is what Fantastic is to Fantastic Four.
Completely disagree.
At least comic-wise. That's how I was seeing it in regards to realism, whatever. Anyways, I'll let CJ get into his pros and cons and stuff.
So yeah, what we're going to do for this review is I'm going to say my pros, Josh is going to say his pros, and we're going to discuss for about a minute or so, and then we're going to go into the cons and discuss for as long as we want, and from there we'll give some final thoughts, maybe about the legacy of this movie and what's going to happen next, and then we're going to wrap it up. The legacy of this movie.
It will have a legacy, but for the wrong reasons.
It needs to be discussed because it will have a legacy, but for the wrong reasons. So my pros, great young cast, which I have in parentheses next to it as the saddest thing. Really, Michael B. Jordan shines. Miles Teller also does a really good job, and even Jamie Bell does a pretty good job with what he's given, but he's not in the movie a whole lot. He's not given a whole lot to do. But Kate Mara I'll definitely discuss in a little bit. Pre-powered Doom is actually pretty decent. Victor Von Doom, before he becomes Doctor Doom, is actually a really good character. I like what they did with him, but then it kind of goes astray. And the entire movie before the teleport is pretty good. The entire movie before the teleport, I gave about a 6 out of 10. There were some issues, but there was also a lot of hope. They had the characters very right in a way. There was a lot of optimism before that. So Josh, what are your pros?
My pros are Reed and Johnny. I felt like Johnny was done right, even though he was pretty much done the same way as Chris Evans' Johnny was, except for this one, they put like drag racing in it. That was like really the only change. Like personality-wise, it's pretty much the same. Like very cliche. Like the authority figure. Kind of rebel a little bit. Sue being Jessica Alba, Sue being the authority figure before this movie having his actual dad. Now the first half of this movie was a pro to me. CJ mentioned it. And by first half, I mean basically everything from the beginning of the film leading up to when they actually do teleport.
Which is really more like the first 50 minutes of the movie. It's not the straight
it's
half.
It's a big chunk. A lot of this movie, and I'll talk about it on my cons too, because there is a con to the first half of the movie that doesn't bug me, but it glares at me, so to speak. But yeah, the first half of this movie, I could very comfortably give like a 6.5, 7, just on how they did it. And that first half is basically all Ultimate Fantastic Four. Also the cast. I love the cast. Like I said before, only reason I'd want a sequel is to see the cast done justice, because I feel like this definitely wasn't the cast's fault, because I felt all the actors did the best they could. Even Kate Mara, who was probably out of all the actors, the one that probably fell the flattest. Yeah. I still feel like a lot of that was due to the writing, which we'll get to. And then also, I did appreciate them trying to do a different take. To me, even though it didn't fall well, I did at least appreciate them not just, retreading the exact same water, which they could have easily done. But I do appreciate them at least attempting to do something different. But
do you want to go into, that's the cast was really the saddest part of the movie, because they actually have a really good cast. Miles Teller is actually a really pretty good pick for Reed.
Watch Whiplash.
And Michael B. Jordan, a lot of people are going to chalk this up to they're going to be like, oh, you didn't like the movie, you're a racist. It's because Michael B. Jordan played a black Johnny Storm. No. He's the best thing about this movie. He is pretty much, to me, honestly, he's the only real solid pro. The other things are like, okay, this was not terrible, it was okay. Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm was fantastic. He was the real fantastic part of the four. Everything else, really, really shitty, pretty much. Do you want to get into cons real quick?
Yeah, we might as well just get into it, because we pretty much have the same pros, and you can't really say much more about it, cast-wise.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So my first con is the second half of this movie, / the beginning of the first half of the movie. So in the first half, one of the things they do, which is kind of problematic, is usually in a film you have a protagonist and you follow that protagonist, and the story is focused from that protagonist's point of view, all that stuff, because you're following him. In this film, while it's kind of obvious Reed should be the protagonist, everything with Reed, how they set him up, that's good for the movie, that's definitely kept in. But they try establishing and giving all this background stuff for each character, and it just feels like it's taking up extra room, and it's unnecessary. And it does take some time in the movie that could have been used for something else, especially much more in the second half, because the second half is extremely rushed. The final fight is embarrassing. To call it a fight in general is to assault the definition of a fight. Especially,
I will talk about that more.
It reminded me of a video game, basically, like a bad video game, which is saying something, because another thing was the CGI. The CGI was all over the place. There was a scene with a monkey, like a test monkey, and that looked disgusting.
I think our standards have been raised for monkey CGI since Planet of the Apes. But,
Yeah, I mean, it's just it looked horrible. It looked like a early PlayStation 3 ported game. Special effects wise, the only special effects that looked decent, I would say, is maybe like the Things.
Yeah, the Things special effects were okay. Everything else was really bad.
Yeah, everyone else's special effects, like Invisible Woman's force fields, were very eh. Johnny Storm when he was on fire, it wasn't horrible, but you could tell it could have been better from what we've seen before with fire effects. Now, also speaking of Sue Storm, all right, so how they get their powers, it's kind of
terrible.
Odd. Because pretty much, I'm not going to spoil it, but when you watch it, you're going to be really scratching your head like, really? That's how they're going about it?
That's it.
And also, Sue Storm, there's no reason for her to have powers, honestly.
No.
It was kind of ridiculous, the fact that she ended up getting power, especially hers being as powerful as they are.
Yeah.
Doom was also, I really did not like how they did Doom, at least, especially the second half, because pretty much, if you've seen Chronicle, Doom became Apex Predator, crazy guy, from Chronicle. That's pretty much what he became. He even had the same power set, telekinesis, which it could have been handled better, honestly. Especially with the power of telekinesis he showed, there was no reason he shouldn't have been able to just kill all the Fantastic Four members. Maybe Sue in a Thing, could have resisted the telekinesis blast, stuff like that, but they legitimately showed him crushing someone from like the inside out.
Yes.
So there's no reason anyone should be able to survive that, besides Sue with her force fields, maybe. Sue is also a weak point for me just because, especially the relationship between her and Johnny, they never felt like siblings.
No.
Ever. They said they were adopted, but even so, I've met adopted siblings that at least interact with each other. Like Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, their characters in the Fantastic Four, they interacted like siblings at least. Even if Sue was a bit of like the nagging, overbearing sibling, still it was there. The editing was pretty bad. You could really tell at editing board they're like, just fuck my shit up,
just trank my shit up, fam.
Yeah, just trank it up,
Writing
was pretty bad too. Dialogue, I'll let CJ talk more about the dialogue, but the dialogue's just Ben, they try giving Ben like a subplot, kind of.
They didn't
like with
really
the whole
even
Reed
give him
thing.
a subplot.
They try.
He was like, Reed, I hate you. I'm angry because you left us. I'm going to go work for the government, and when you get back, I'm going to be angry for a little bit, but then we're going to be fine 10 minutes later because the movie is only 90 minutes long and we're running out of time.
Yeah, it was like unnecessary that they even introduced it in the first place. And my last thing was, I liked it. I like the actor a lot that plays their Johnny and Sue's dad, Dr. Franklin Storm.
Reggie
I
Cathy,
like him a lot, but the way he was written, it was just extremely repetitive.
That's pretty much every character across the board.
Annoying. It got really annoying. So I'll let CJ take it.
I'm gonna go really quickly because I don't want this review to go too long. You get the point already, pretty much. But my cons: one, movie rushed as hell. It's only 90 minutes long, but really a big part of that is montages and exposition. They try to set up this grand scope for the movie, and then they just fill it with like montage scenes and a lot of exposition to explain it. The dialogue is really awful. I shit you not. There's a line, and I thought this guy was joking when he tweeted it out. I was hoping. Victor, in a random conversation, starts going, I'm not sure the world deserves to be saved, because Franklin Storm is like, we could save, this could be the key to saving our planet. And Doom is like, I think it's got what's coming to it. And Sue literally goes, check out Dr. Doom. It's mind-blowingly awful. Batman and Robin level screenwriting. Thank you, Simon Kinberg. The whole concept and kind of the way the movie plays out, I just chalk that up to bad writing as well. Reed at one point escapes from the facility when they get their powers, and he just gets away from the Black Ops facility in the middle of nowhere while he's buck-ass naked. Just escapes. Just terrible there. And then that sets up a lot of the plot. Like, everyone's angry at Reed, but it's really only Ben, and then Sue gets over it really quickly. Johnny just like is one bro hug, and they're fine.
Like, hey, buddy.
He's like, hey, man, good to have you back. There's a random 1 year time jump that doesn't help with this movie's rushed feeling at all. It's just really, really random. Sue's hair, this is really the big issue with the editing, and where you can tell the reshoots happen. Sue's hair changes from scene to scene, randomly. Like in the first scene, she's kind of got dirty blonde going on, and then the next scene, she's just straight blonde, and then the scene after that, she's got long blonde hair, and the scene after that, she's back to having long brown hair, and then she ends the movie back with kind of a dirty blonde look.
Yeah.
Literally no sense at all. That's just unprofessional, and it really kind of makes this movie feel like a film that was just made to hold the rights. Like they eventually, randomly, Fox was just like, fuck it, we don't care. We're going to just make this to keep the rights. Victor's motivation is unexplained, and I chalk it up to just being terrible. Like, he's like, I want to save the planet. We're destroying it. Humans suck. And then he goes over there and he's like, this is my planet now. And he's like, you're destroying your planet. And it literally is mentioned twice.
You did call it, though. I remember months ago you were like, I hope they don't do this, but they're going to make Doctor Doom the evil Apex Predator guy
I called Chronicle. I did. I said this is exactly what they're going to do. I don't think I ever said it in the video, but I mean, it's just...
No, it's just a one-on-one
That's Trank, dude. But no.
Everything was pointless, too.
Massive spoilers for you guys here. Click away if you don't want this. Victor dies, guys. He disintegrates in his own force field after the team teams up magically 30 seconds after deciding that they can work together. He dies. He gets disintegrated. So he's gone. There's no chance of Doom ever being better unless somehow he can reassemble his matter, which is possible, I guess. Victor also looks awful. It's literally, and I say this, and I have nothing against Toby Kebbell. He's great, and this is how I know that the writing and the dialogue is the problem. The dude from Nip Tuck from the last Fantastic Four movies was a better Doctor Doom than this guy.
Can I pitch him really quick?
Go ahead.
30 seconds or less. I just want to say the first two Fantastic Four movies, I thought the Doctor Doom outfit looked great.
Yeah.
I wish that you could have had this outfit on this character at least somewhat redeemable-ish. They do explain why he looks so shitty, but still, you wish he looked better. And
my big issue, like Josh mentioned, it's kind of like a video game. The final fight was something straight out of Cirque du Soleil. Literally, Doom was just standing there on a platform, and they were all kind of trying to charge at him one-on-one. It was literally Cirque du Soleil. He literally kind of rises up on a platform at one point. That's like all it for the cons. I think people get the fact that we hated this movie. Well, I hated this movie. What's your final score?
I mean, I'd give it like a maximum of 5. I mean,
5 out of 10, not 5 out of 5.
Yeah, 5 out. Oh my god, no. Like 5 out of 10 at the most. I mean, definitely this is a movie where I'm like, if you're of drinking age, because obviously, I'm not trying to support underage drinking, whatever, get people in trouble. But I would say, definitely, like, this is a movie like you probably wouldn't get through like sober if you had the option. I mean, like Jeremy Johns, with his reviews, he does like, T-minus 1 hour. He's like, oh, you'll enjoy it if you're drunk. This is one of those movies. It's definitely not a movie that's going to get nominated for an Oscar. It's definitely a movie that's going to get nominated for Razzies.
This is going to be...
like, no, this is the next Catwoman of Razzies.
I expect them to sweep. I give this movie a 4 out of 10. Really, really bad. And I tell you, I went in with low expectations. Around the time they released the third trailer, my hype levels went down significantly. My hype levels went down significantly. I got a really bad feeling. So I went in with low expectations, and... I didn't pay attention to the fact that Michael Jordan is back, black. I didn't pay attention to, the Josh Trank, is Fox. I'm a fan of the Fantastic Four. I want a good movie. And this was not a good movie. I see some people saying you got to take off fanboy blinders and look at it objectively. Objectively, it's not a good movie. No good movie has that amount of bad dialogue, that amount of bad writing. The motivation's just that. It's 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 simple. This is worse than Green Lantern. Worse than Green Lantern.
Preach.
Worse than the first original Fantastic Four movie, on par with Silver Surfer. It's Batman and Robin level. It is a terrible movie. You should not waste money seeing it. I'm trying to save you people. I literally, Josh's, and I feel bad. If you're a religious person, pray for Josh that he had a stroke just last week. I was insensitive and said it was a sore subject for him, but I was having a stroke in the theater. I think I've recovered now, but I'm just done. Can I mic drop? I'm not gonna mic drop.
Yeah.
It'll bounce out. But.
So on this off. So basically, as you can see, this definitely rubs CJ the wrong way. For me, CJ's a big Fantastic Four fan, especially Doctor Doom fan. He's a huge Doctor Doom fan. Me, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan just because I'm an engineering major, and I like the fact that they're explorers, scientists, engineers. They're not superheroes first. So I mean, in that regard, I feel like the sequel. 1% chance. 1% chance. But I'm going to wrap it up from there. Pray for CJ.
Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.
Oh, he's a ghost now. He's in the negative zone. Or he's at Planet Zero, whatever the
Planet Zero
bullshit that was. So yeah, just comment below and let's
fuck Josh Trank.
Alright, just mic drop, put it down.